Hello. Ah, can you hear me, Putz? Can you hear me? I think everything should be working now. And we'll profile normal. I believe this is my good game. If not, I'll go figure out which profile we're supposed to be on. But I believe this is the one we're supposed to be playing. Just let me know if the audio is okay, because on my end it looks fine, but it doesn't mean on your end it's good. So, the game audio is turned off. Hold on. There we go, game audio is back on. Doesn't seem to have any audio at the moment. I think the music might be off. I'll check when the game loads. Because I was doing some other stuff, doing some testing, trying to break the game. Only found one game-breaking bug in the current version. If you wanted infinite money, but it's the only one I could find. Surprisingly, the mech mechanic is a very solid product, which is a good thing. I like when games are solid and stable. Being able to bug a game out or break it is something we don't want. And maybe it is broken. Maybe it is broken and it doesn't want to, oh, it is loading. Okay, cool. I was beginning to wonder if it was going to load. There we go. There we go. Come on. Come on. You can do it. I have faith. I believe in you. You can finish loading. I trust in you. I know it's possible. I know you can do it. I'll give you big purple hearts if I can. But yeah. Oh, there we go. Finally. Alright, so let me check my audio settings. Yeah, see, music is muted. That's why. Android's muted. Sound of nothing else is muted. Everything else is on. Okay. So let me know if the balance is good or bad, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I just bought the Serenity, and we're working on it. That's what I was doing last. So I was trying to get back to where I was in the last time we played, which unfortunately the tutorials bugged out, so I couldn't continue. Yes, working good. So I decided to restart and kind of get back to where I was, and I'm pretty close. I'm almost to where I can actually do missions, send my mech out for missions, though I have a mech now. So that's where we are standing in the mech situation. However, I'm still debating what I'm going to play next week, because I'm not sure yet. I might pick up, I might actually start playing one of their other mechanic games. because I have a few of them now. So I might pick up one of those to play. Because I think that might be fun too. Kind of change up what games we're playing. So, because they have like a car mechanic and a truck mechanic and a tank mechanic, and they have a couple of others. So, and I think I have the truck mechanic, though I might be wrong. Might be a different one that I have. So I was thinking that maybe I'd play that next week as something different. So take the leg off. And I'm still missing a part, apparently, in the arm. So I need to figure out what part's missing in the right arm and what parts are missing on the leg. Okay, so I have one of those. Okay, so according to that, between these two pieces, we have 3 parts missing. But I know there's one missing in this arm somewhere. I just can't figure out where it is. There it is. I got it. Can't use that part. Okay, I'll take care of that. That's the one part missing. And then this has one bogus part somewhere. Right here. And that should take care of all the missing parts. Yay, okay. So now we have our first mech up and operational. And it didn't cost us that much. Now, software updates. Okay, so we're version 3. And only thing we have is underground navigation. Cool. So this is good for mining missions. I might have to add some other software when I get missions, but we'll see. Alright, move to the garage. Now, in order to send them on missions, we need the mission table right here. 150,000 for that. However, I don't have 150,000, so let's see what we got here. What's cheap? What's cheap and easy to do? Oh, let's go with this one. Let's go with the contract. Grab a Hina. And we'll see what this comes out with. Ooh, it needs a bath. So I've been doing just the bare basics. I haven't worrying about getting the bonuses, because the bonuses really aren't worth that much to do all those parts. And in some cases, it really doesn't pay for the parts that you've used. Now, if you've got an insane number of used parts that you could use that are in good shape. That takes care of the used parts, but doesn't take care of the fact that they want you to buy all these new parts all the time. And that's where it gets tricky. Because you can spend a lot of money on buying new parts. And buying the new parts is not always economical, because some of the mechs just want an absurd number of new parts. Like they end up wanting like 4 or 5 new parts. And it's like, no. I'm not buying new parts for you when they're in operational status. And I don't get really paid a good bonus to cover the parts. So I only replace the ones that are on the pieces I pull off. So like this leg. If this leg has the request for a new part, I'll replace it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to pull apart another component when I don't need to. Because I found that you don't actually make that much off of replacing things with new parts. The bonuses just aren't worth it. Which is kind of a shame. But it's the way it works. It's just how the game's done. So. But it's okay. I like the game. It's a lot of fun. So. Alright, that takes care of that. Good. Goodbye. Next mech. See, I like these ones that want a bath, because if all they want is a bath, if they want a bath and a couple of parts cleaned up, oh, solid. Totally solid. So much easier. Because the bath counts as one major fix. And they don't have more than 4 or 5 major fixes. So, like, this has got all of its stuff in the legs. So it's going to get all new parts. All of its optional parts to get done in this mech. Unless it wants something weird. Let's see. What's it want? It wants a bunch of parts, an upgrade, Oh, it's a software upgrade. Okay. That's fun. Not hard to do, though. I don't have one, so it'll be expensive. But it's okay. It's not too bad. So, what have you been up to? Anybody who's out there? What you up to, Amaru? You doing anything interesting this week? Or are you just chilling? Let's see now. What do we got right here? Okay, so that's not too hard to get to. I don't have any one of those. There we go. Wow, I take this off in order to take that off. Okay. I need to take the patella off the back. Honestly, I think this would be a really fun job in real life, too. Working on something like this. Not the strange contraptions we have right now that are clunky and don't operate correctly, but an actual mech. This one's version 3 or higher. I have to buy one so I can install it, because I don't have a 3 or higher on hand. The only thing I could hope for is that this game, that the developers release more content for it. You know, more vehicles to work with, more mechs. In this case, release more missions that you can do. Actually, fix the testing grounds, because right now the testing grounds is really buggy and broken. Just doesn't work half the time. And I'm hoping they fix that soon. Don't need the rest of this. I just need to change out one part. Cool. Have to replace one part. They want me to replace 2, so. Like, this is hard to get to. Wow, that is really broken. So that would be really nice if they actually released some DLC upgrades that have more content to it. That would be really cool. Unfortunately, a lot of developers tend to do the one and done. And when they do that, we as the players don't get the better game that we could have gotten. Because they'll fix the bugs, but they'll never go past the actual bugs. They'll only go to like the minimum effort necessary, which is unfortunate because games like this could really go a long way. I'm gonna hold off on that for a minute. I'm gonna do part cleanup. I haven't done this for a while, as you can tell. So I need to do some part cleanups. Cool. Let's see. Where's that last one? Here we go. So part cleanup is the time-consuming job, but if you actually do that, it can save you a lot of money on buying new parts all the time. So there are advantages to it. And especially when you're working on your own mechs, it allows you to not have to spend quite so much on mechs that don't necessarily make you a lot of money. Because the mechs you do for other people make you a lot of money. But your mechs may or may not, depending on the missions you do with them. So it's important to keep that in mind if you want to make a lot of money. But I've never found it hard to make money in the game, so honestly, I wouldn't know why you would really want to push hard for repairing components. Other than to recoup some cost by selling off the repaired parts. But again, it comes down to, do you need money or space more than anything else? Because really, it's not that hard to, no fuel, to just buy new components all the time. You don't really save that much. By repairing parts all the time. Now, granted, once you get a nice stockpile of parts, unless you're doing like the must have a new part routine, which where your parts come from anyway, then it's not a big deal because you can just use the repaired parts after a while. Like if you have one of each mech completely broke down, then it's not a big deal to just say, oh, I've already got one of every part, or two of every part in some cases, and just use those all the time and never use the new parts. And then all you have to do is just make sure you don't use the used parts. You don't have to go to the new parts all the time. And it makes it really easy. Which is how you're supposed to make money in the game. But when you realize that you really don't need to worry about salvaging parts in order to make money, it changes that mentality. Because now you're not worried about doing this as often in order to save yourself money. Because you're still making a ton of money even if you're not doing used parts. Honestly, I think the pay for the work and the cost of the parts is actually inconsistent. That's why I don't bother with doing the new parts optional items, because they don't pay you enough profit to really worry about it. And in some cases it costs you more money because the profit for the bonus isn't that high. For that optional work. So you really don't gain anything. Like I've gained more money by not doing those in a faster time than I did when I was doing the tutorial. And I was doing every component every time. It was a lot slower climb. And it really didn't matter if I was doing used parts or new parts. It was still slower when I was doing the tutorial run. But on this one, I've always bought new parts. And it actually took less time to get to the same point in the game. Because I wasn't doing all those optional parts. It took less time and less effort. Less number of jobs, homeland, and everything in order to get there. So yeah, their balance is pretty okay. But there's still some work they could do on the balancing the economy to make it more advantageous to spend time repairing components or building your own components. And the game isn't quite done yet. They still got some bug fixes. They still have some other features that they're that they were talking about in the last vlog board they wanted to put out and tweak. But we'll see. With the game being marked as done or nearly done, I doubt we're going to see a significant amount of updates other than some bug fixes at this point. I don't expect to see any new features coming. Which is a shame. But it's okay. I'm kind of spending a lot of money right now doing all these repairs. But it's really not that bad. It's not going to take me much time to make up the loss. The losses are really insignificant. A couple of jobs and I'll have back the 20 or so K that I've spent doing all this repair work. And all these parts would be usable on future contracts, so that'll save me money. I won't have to use as much from the market. So that's a good thing. But it's okay. Actually, not that bad. Now, I might have to put some of these through the spot welder. In addition to this. Which wouldn't surprise me. It's an easy fix, though. So I just go over to the welding machine and see what's over there for me. If I thought about it, I would have done this part first so that I could do all the spot welding at one time. But I wasn't thinking about that. Come on. Here we go. See, like this in here. It actually got worse. It's weird. It's unusual that when they get worse. This means they did a shitty ass job on it. I just did a bad job, I guess. And some of them were just didn't go up that far. So it's okay. We'll survive. It really isn't that important. If I end up losing a few pieces, that's fine. Because I've got others that I can work with. And I'll just sell off the absolute garbage stuff that I can't do anything with. It's okay. Okay, so that takes all of that. Let's see if there's any of those that I can put over here. Yeah, there's a couple I can put through the spot welder. For a couple of fixed points. So where are they? There's one. There's the other. So that brings that one up to spec. There's one there. There's the other one there. That brings that up to spec. And there's that one up to spec. And we just need to do some electronics. Got a few wires that need to be repaired. Okay, so takes care of that cable. Grab this one. And I have to take all of these out. Takes care of that. Now, how about this one? Nothing there. Anything over here? Nothing there. Okay, so what we want to do is I go through here and find anything that is in the totaled category. Okay, so that's not helpful. Like this one here. This one here is useless. So then I can deal with that. That one's useless. That's useless. That's useless. That's useless. Let's see now. Because yellow is acceptable, green is good. 100%'s best. We just don't want any reds. Looks like that's the last of them. Okay. So that takes care of all of our road components. Let's make some money back. 4 mechs in this one. Now, this is usually a pretty easy mech to work on, so that helps. Then realign. There we go. There we go. Alright, so we need this leg has one component that needs to be replaced. That was a wire. Which, naturally, because it's a wire, I'm probably going to have to buy a new one. Okay, that's buried. So that's going to take this hubcap off. And it's going to take this hubcap off. It requires you to remove these. And then we can take the wiring harness out. And I have a serviceable one. So why put in a good part when I can give you a junk part that I happen to just have lying around? Fortunately, most of the parts in there I couldn't replace with worse ones. Oh well. Because that would have been nice. Bye. There we go. It's a mech. And they're all 30 mechs. That works for me. Because dirty mechs make for cheap jobs. They don't cost me much if they're just dirty. Okay. So right arm and control center. Show. And that's one in each. Take that off. Take the control case off. Now the control case you have to disassemble quite a ways in order to get to that one part. See, because that's the one's broken. But in order to get there, we have to take this off. Take this off. Take this off. That panel. Take that panel off. And then I can take that panel off. I don't have a spare, so I'll have to buy a new one. Don't have much for control case parts, as you can see. So I unfortunately have to buy new control case pieces. I don't have a spare one of those, so I'll have to buy a new one. And then I'll have a spare for next time. Which is good. Now what you can do is you could just make a bunch of money and then buy. Wow, it wants me to downgrade that to a 1 or lower. Really? Okay, so software. They want this to be a level 0. Okay. I have level 0. Don't know why you want to downgrade it, but I can understand when the black market guys come around why they would want to downgrade it. But I don't really understand why a normal corp will want to downgrade the software. But, you know, whatever the customer wants is what they get. There we go. Scan that mech. Scan the mech. Okay, so both arms gotta come apart. Got it. Not complicated. Take these screws out. Take that off. And one arm. And then we're gonna take this arm. Take off the cover. Take off the other cover. Now, each of these pieces had parts to replace. Okay, so it's just that one from the look of it. I'll just buy a new one. And this arm should have 2. Yeah. And they're both kind of buried, so. But it's not too bad. Once you get the coverings all off. I gotta take the lower panel off. So I gotta take the lower panel off anyway. So I can replace this one. Because I gotta take this all apart to replace out this U-clamp. I don't have a spare, so. And while I could actually go through the effort of pulling the parts, repairing them, and then putting them back into the mech, while I have this mech on the site, I just don't understand. I just don't see why. Because a lot of the mechs actually have time constraints. Actually. I give them the crappier one. There. Takes care of that. We're not unhappy. And we can send it back. Yeah, the owner notices if you leave parts out. And they notice if you don't replace the parts. But they don't notice if you give them an inferior part and steal the superior one. They don't notice that, which I find hysterical. Because you think they would. Now, if you take out like something that's, green and you put in a yellow, you'd think, hey, they'd notice this. They don't. And I find it comical that they don't notice when you do that. Two in the right arm, one in the leg, one in the casting. Oh, that leg was not a required part. That was an optional part. Okay. I thought it was marked red. Must have been a mistake. Yeah, because there's only 3. That's interesting. Just buy a new one. It's not a big deal. Okay, so this wire here, we need to replace that. I don't have a spare. I'll take this off. I need to take these off. I might need to take off the housing. Nope, I don't. Just those wires in the way. I have to replace that. Give him this one back. I'm kind of sad I have to give him all these parts that are actually in good shape. Which is such a shame. Because I'd rather keep all the parts that are green for my mechs. But, que sera. Off you go. Not spending any more money on you. Get the contract. Now, grab the next contract. And that's it. We just wash, rinse, repeat until we can actually do missions. Oh, speaking of which, I could now once I get the mission terminal, lag control case, okay. I did it again. It originally marked something in the leg as red, but it actually wasn't a red piece. Interesting. It was just a yellow component. Now this has got 3 parts that they want. swapped out. So go ahead and pull all the parts off. And just replace them all. With non-broken components. Because I don't have much for control cases yet. And that'll make him happy. So, takes care of that. That's an easy one. Unfortunately, if I have to keep buying parts, it's going to take like 3 or 4 contracts. Okay, so I thought that looked right. Just way out of alignment. All right. Now, just like, unfortunately, oh, there are 2 components in here. One's a replace, one's a repair. Okay. That actually makes it really easy. Now, who's who? Hina 5. This is the one they want a new part on. And then this one is not that hard to get to. It's actually just that one piece. They'll take a repaired one for that, but I don't have one on hand. So I'll just buy a new one and be done with it. And we'll see where that goes. Alright, here we go. And that's that. There's the job. Grass mech. 1 minotaur. How bad is this thing banged up? Let's see. That's an easy part to get to. That's an easy part to get to. Actually, all of these parts are really easy to get to if I wanted to replace all the ones that are broken. Or they want replaced. I'm just not doing it because I want to save the money. Because all those new parts take so much money. Let's see now. Yeah, it's just the 2 parts. So it's like this one here. I don't have a spare. So just do that. And this one here. I do have a repair part. So I don't have to buy that part. Good to go. And that's it. That takes care of that mech. And the contract. You've reached Prestige 9. You've now unlocked unique mechs. Whatever that means. It's an Argus. Hina. So it might be something that I can buy, maybe? So maybe I can buy like unique mechs off the market. So if we go over here to the garage, yeah, I'll just buy a slot. And these are all Yukios, Centurions, Hina, Sentry, Artemis, Wrath, and Argus. So yeah, these are all the mechs we've seen. We've seen them all. So we haven't actually seen an actually unique mech. Sure, we'll accept this job. We can use the black market points. So that will help us in the long run. You can use black market points to get discounts on parts, which I really don't see much need in. Because, like, I'll show you. Let me get this mech pulled apart. But now I can go to the shop. I go to black market. And I can buy parts off the black market. And they are significantly cheaper. But there's really no point to that. Now, the mechs that you can buy on the black market, that's a different story. Because you can use your black market tickets to discount the mechs up to like 50%. So like a $300 million mech, or $300,000 mech, can be marked down to less than 200,000, which takes it from being painful to being affordable if you don't have a lot of money. So it's understandable. there are legitimate reasons to using the black market for buying the mechs. I just can't see using it for buying components. The discount really isn't that much. Of course, it's not like there's a penalty for using black market parts. So, and maybe that's something that they'll add in the future before they do a final version of the game, is actually make black market either A, risky, because it really isn't, or B, oh look, I got a time bonus. Wasn't even trying. Here we go. Big boss. So like that's when since I haven't done any of these, this is going to take a little longer. And I am going to do all the little parts. Because I don't have any parts to work with. So it's more advantageous for me to go ahead and just get all the pieces. Now I might get lucky in some of them, like the sweating harness that I already have or something. But I doubt that. I fully expect it to be parts that I just don't have. And I have done one of these before on a different playthrough, but not on this particular playthrough. So this little compressor down here is actually real easy to get to. When you first look at it, it looks complicated, but it's really not. Because it's just these few little lines, a couple of screws, and then you just buy a new one. And then we go to this one, which has two components. These are a little trickier because I have to take more of the mech apart. I have to take the whole shoulder unit apart to get to these two units. So it's a bit more of a time-consuming thing. But it's not like it's insanely difficult. Oops, not that one. There we go. So we have to buy a new harness. Oops. Now, in order to get that one, I might have to take the whole arm, whole shoulder apart to get down to that rotor blade. That'll stink. Okay. As long as I don't miss any components, we'll be fine. This had a lot of cables on it. Yeah, come on. Oh my goodness. That clutch is a pain in the butt. Finally. Got to the brake plate. So many parts. Now, I can just pull these wires back. Because these are just going to be annoying as all God's green earth. Alright, here we go. That wasn't too bad. That could have been worse. And they want me to upgrade the software. Alright, so that's not too bad. They want us to go to a version 3, which I don't have. That's easy fixed. We'll swap out that 2 for a 3. And send it back. I'm not tasting on that one part. It looks like a wiring harness anyway. Okay. There it goes. So where's the one bad part? Okay. It's in the lag. Okay. Might be like a foot plate or something. It is just one part. And since this like does want multiple replacement pieces, oh, I went through and replaced the part that didn't want to be replaced. Oops. Oh well. Is that one? Nope. That one has to be a new part. Okay, we got the pistons in the rear. So that's the 2 drive lines. And the whole foot can come off. I don't have a replacement one. So do that. Put the hydraulic assembly back together. It's fine, you can have the repaired one. It's all good. And that takes care of that mech. Goodbye. Send me your next mech, please. Now this one, we need to do that, and that, and that takes care of the scan. And just like we got a kneecap, some shoulder armor, and a part in the main assembly. All easy to get to and fix. None of those parts are actually really complicated to get to or real time consuming. Because like the leg, it's literally just the kneecap. That particular part, the fact that they make you take it off the mech like this just to replace it, is really annoying. Because it's in such an easy spot to fix. That you don't have to take the leg off to get to it. It's like this one here is a little trickier. Just gotta take a few components off before I can get to these. Alright, let's hold it. Oh, it's this one here. What? What? Okay. So this is a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be. What? Those hubcaps in here. Well, since we're already down this far, might as well take out all the items we need to do to replace this one as well. Since it's got to come out too. Okay. There we go. There, now we can get the piston out of there. I want a new one for that. Repaired one there. this one they need a replacement for. As long as you don't give them the ones that are busted. Oops. Apparently they want a new one of those. Okay. And they want to upgrade the software. We're missing a part in the left arm. What did we forget to put back on? Hydraulic cable. Oops. Glad it tells you that you missed these parts. Otherwise, you could send things back and never know you missed something. Because, like, you don't test nothing. So, you wouldn't know unless you tested to make sure that the arm's working properly. And yet, you're missing a part. Okay, so what software? Version 3. This guy's got version 3 for some reason. I don't have a lot of version 3s. There. Have version 3. Alright. Now let's replace the patella. I'll just grab a new one. Because I don't have the repair parts already done, so I don't feel like actually repairing it while I have it in the shop. Because that's the most efficient method. Is the ones they want new you replace, and the ones they want just repaired, you just repair that one piece and put the same piece back on. Or you can do what I do, which is spend a little more money and just buy the new parts every time they want to repair one, until you have a nice little stockpile of used parts. Then, whenever they come up with a repaired part, once wanting a repaired one, you can give them the repaired part. It's not a big deal. So it's just the one in the arm. So sorry for this mech. It's got a lot of optional parts and I ain't doing any of them. I gotta take that off in order to take that off. Oh my goodness. Wait, hold on. Yeah, because I gotta take off the inner guide rail in order to take out the rotator. But it's not a big deal. I already had one, so. Save me a lot of money. And I am not doing all those new parts. I need to do the software. All these like level version 2s. So stupid. Alright. But that's okay. There's my contract. Now it gives me 164,000. Yay. I'm gonna do one more something. Yes, please. This is worth as much as that whole contract up there. And it will cost me tremendously amount less. I mean, it's significantly less. And I only have these 3 pieces. That's a wire harness. So and the parts in this one are in really easy to get to spots. From the look of it. Doesn't look like it's the parts that are buried. So, with any luck, if looking at it, I'm right. Alright, so that's the hard one. Let's get in there. And we'll replace that with a new one. And replace that component. Actually, you know what? Let's make sure I can get this harness out of here. If you need one of those. Place that. Good. And then, like I said, can you make these parts any easier to get to? They're all real easy to assemble. So it's not like I have to go out of my way to get to a part to repair. Because, you know, buried deep inside. Software. To 3 or higher. And then we just have to replace that one part, which I think is a surface part. Yeah, it is. It's really close to service. I take this off, this cover plate off. I think I'd take the rear cover plate off as well. So I can replace the joint. Let me just put a new one in. Easy peasy. And this is easy as replacing the brakes in your car. To be honest, it may have been something that simple. That was the equivalent of a brake. Or a micro clutch. Which is what you have in electric motors. Goodbye, and I will take my 50 some odd thousand credits. So even buying all new parts for this thing, I'm still up. What? 40,000? Alright, so now we can go buy our table. So now we can go down here. And we can buy this. And we have one mech. Now our mech is the Sentry model. And it's got a mining bonus. So it doesn't have auto repair, anti-pressure. You get a reputation with black markets, random mech parts. Money. Well, money is more important. So let's do the anti. Let's go ahead and pull down our mech and put the auto repair on. And since they only have the one, I think I'm also going to put the anti-pressure on here as well. Because there's a lot of underwater missions. And the 3D scanner is the other one that's really useful to have. But I'm going to leave that slot open. For later. Because I may not actually put the 3D scanner on this mech. I may buy a different mech for that. So, but this one here gives me money, and we'll accept this mech. Yeah. 23 minutes. 24 minutes. So this is 4 mechs for 150,000. And This is one mech with only needing 3 repaired parts and 1 new for 44,000. So this is a better job. Now it'll cost me a little more. It'll probably cost me 10 or 15k for this one. Versus the other one, which probably end up costing me closer to 30 or 40k if I'm really in trouble. If I'm lucky, maybe 10 or 15k. So that should be worth more. But not often. Often the contracts aren't necessarily a good deal. Now when you get to these big mechs. And they don't tell you what's in the contract until after you've bought the contract. They just tell you how many mechs. They don't tell you which ones. So like if you're trying to specialize in a type of mech, so that when you buy, so you can actually have parts built up. So I say I actually wanted to specialize in this particular mech. So I could actually have worked up all the parts necessary to maintain one. Because I want to buy one. Then doing contracts isn't necessarily the best way you want to go about it. Okay. So I gotta take the whole thing out in order to get to the bearings. Let's take the final case out. And now I get the bearings out. Let's buy anyone. So you gotta kind of think about which contracts you want to take on. And sometimes it just doesn't matter, you just don't care. Other times you actually want to worry about it. Especially when you're looking at it from a perspective of what it's going to cost you. So like in this case, it's going to cost me about 10k. And I'll make 40k. You know, I'm bringing going out about 10k, coming in about 40k. So it's a solid 30k up. And in this case, it's a relatively cheap part. Actually, that one was more expensive. Because of where it was. That particular wiring harness is an expensive wiring harness. all things considered. A lot of them are cheap. A lot of them are like 1 or 2K a piece. That one was actually 4K, so it was a little pricey. But I still did it in less than 5 minutes. Let's see, here's another one. See, this is 3 mechs for only 60K. Why would I do that when I can do this one, which only needs 3 parts, and I get 44K? And it might cost me 10K to do those 3 parts. Maybe 12K, depending on which parts they happen to be. It all depends on which pieces need to be replaced and how much they cost. And I'm starting to pick up some pieces for the Artemis. So I'm going to want to start repairing components. So I can start saving a little bit of money on some of these repair costs. Because like this one here. I don't have any of these repaired, but I have several of them now. So it's not that big of a deal. You just have to have the parts in stock and have them in a serviceable manner. Okay. And like in this case, it's just this shoulder servo. Not a big deal. Again, I have several of them. I just don't have any repaired. So it's a relatively common part, apparently, that breaks on this particular mech. So I need to repair those so that I have the parts available in the future. Hind legs, we have hind legs, which are pretty much the same as the front legs, except that the layout's a little different, but the components are the same. Which parts are needing replacement? Now this doesn't matter when it comes to that wiring harness. So I can put this joint back together. Now that wiring harness is underneath this cover plate. And this cover plate. And it's buried here, which requires me to take off. Oh geez. I've got to take off the hydraulic cylinder. so I can get to that wire. Such a nuisance. You probably could have gotten to it without taking off the hydraulic cylinder. It's probably something you could have done. But they won't let you. Even if it is possible, they're not going to let you. So, all you can do is just put it all back, take it all apart the way they tell you to, and put it all back together. Alright, bye-bye. I think my 44K. This puts me at 99K. Yay. Alright, so hold on to that for a second. I want to check on that mech I sent out. $11 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and do some repair work while we're waiting. So I can go do some more armies. There we go. Because a lot of this is just parts that we'll use a lot. And we don't want to always be buying new components. Unless we have to. But you do have to do this occasionally. Otherwise they build up and a lot of parts that are just useless. Because you haven't repaired any of them. So you have two options. You can either sell the broken pieces, which is a viable option, by the way. You could just sell all the broken parts. And if you did that, you wouldn't have to repair nothing. And you do get a decent amount of money for the parts, even if they are damaged or broken. So it really is a viable option. Because what you do is you're selling it to the mechanics who can't afford to buy new. And have to pinch those pennies. Which you never do because the game's economy is designed in such a way that you really never... That went down. Okay, whatever. It's kind of annoying when you do it. You don't do anything different. And yet, you end up losing integrity on a piece for no real reason at all. And you didn't cause any significant damage to it. I don't get it sometimes. But it's fine. To be fair, I'm fine with the amount of repairs that we do and components that we have. Because you go through a lot of components. And really, you could just sell all the parts off. And just buy new all the time. And make your money back that way. So, it's always an option. I choose not to use it. I prefer to let's repair for the most part. But there are cases where just replacing it is just sometimes better. And this particular part might be one of them. Because it is a horrible part to try and clean. And it's because of that. It's just time consuming. To do this particular part. See, like these parts here. These are very common. And I've already replaced 2 of these. I've only worked on what? 3 or 4 Artemis. I've replaced 2 of the same part. So those being repaired is actually worth it. And this particular chassis case, well, this is on every single control case, so. These being repaired just kind of makes sense because they really are on everything. This one's not so common. But like this one here is a shell piece. And in a lot of the mechs, you don't really see the shell pieces very often. Where it's like the same shell piece that's being damaged all the time. It's usually different shell pieces. When you see shell pieces at all. Okay. So we'll go over to welding station now. And we will do our welding. Because you know, gotta do the welding. So. And that's that. Next piece. Okay, that was not expected. Last piece. Okay. And okay. So that takes care of that. And then it's the electronic station. Let's do we have anything over here? Yeah, let's do this one first. Alright, so this station. Like so. Isn't it? Or is it the other way? It's there it goes. Okay, so it's being laggy. Yes, how's it going? Meep, 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 Peter Spun, sad face. Sorry about that. I didn't see you there until I saw the wall. It's fine. Some of these particular tasks are, how should we say, troublesome and require a little bit more brain cells than others, so I tend to not notice chat. So sorry about that. How you doing? What you up to? Okay. There. Take care of that. Okay, that time that actually worked. That sad face. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. So that takes care of that. That'll take care of that one. Let's swing 3 either way. And there. Oh, I took these 3 out too. Takes care of that. Good. There we go. Now, do the wiring. Yeah, repair work takes more concentration than just disassembling and reassembling mechs, unfortunately. Takes more concentration because you actually have things you gotta pay attention to. But it's okay because it's not too bad. It's just a little time consuming. And unfortunately, means I don't know his chat right away. But I did see you. Said hi. Hope you're still hanging around. You didn't drop out right away. 'Cause that would be a shame. And I'm sure he probably did, since he's not responding. So, I'm not worried about it. because he came in, spammed a bunch of texts right back to back, and then basically rage quit. And it's like, you can see that whatever streamer you're looking at is doing something that requires, thought. And it takes effort. And a quiet chat room is not something you're paying attention to often. You know it's there, and you think about it, and you check it, every 20, 30 seconds, sometimes every couple of minutes, every couple of minutes, the worst. But you can't expect streamers who have nobody in their chat rooms to be on top of every I'll go this way. Be on top of every text message that they receive. And in all truth, if you're dealing with a big streamer, they don't read chat anyway. They're just talking and rambling to themselves. That's all they're doing. They're just talking to the room in general. They're not actually talking to specific people. I mean, they'll thank people for follows, they'll thank people for that type of stuff, which is great, and I do it too when that happens. But you're just talking to yourself and to the game. You're often not talking to individual people. This is not worth the price. That might be worth it to get through. Yeah, let's do this one. This is a real easy one. This will just get us back to the next one. So, and people who come in like that and do the, me, and they'd run away before you even give a chance to be noticed in a quiet chat room is just not fun. And small streamers like me, because we have nobody in our chat rooms, honestly, we don't stare at it. There's a range. See, you've got the people who are just starting like me, who have nobody in the chat room, so all I can do is talk to myself. Then you have the small to medium streamers, and they have enough people in the chat room to make it lively, but it's also small enough that they can interact with everybody. It's not like, I can't interact with people because I just can't read chat. So you have that stage of life. And that's when I think streamers are most interesting, when they can interact with their viewers, but not when they get to the point at which they can't do it anymore. Because once they get to the point where they can't actually interact with viewers, at that point you're back to talking to yourself again. It's like having nobody in your chat room. All you can do is react to the chaos that is your chat room. But you really don't have any visual controller say what's going on, you have no comprehension as to what's going on in those channels. And you ever watched a big streamer? They don't pay attention to chat. They don't even try. And when you talk about the super big streamers, all they pay attention to is people who send them money. Because that's the only basic chat message that they can see. Oh, we're level 10 now. Crafting station. Sweet. Now, I think this might actually be the highest prestige level. There might be higher levels than this, but nothing actually affects the game, I don't think. So the crafting station is 500,000 credits. Wow. But at that point, you can make your own mech parts. So you don't have to buy them anymore. And that's kind of an interesting thing. So how's our thing doing? Okay, complete. Cool. So we picked up 24 reputation with Vico. Okay. And we pick up 66,000 in cash. Oh, we really needed that. Alright, so what's our next mission set? Black market. Mech parts. Minerals. And Vico wants to pay us to go money without repair, so it's the same mission as we had last time. Yes. Go. Last time that paid a lot of money. 66,000. Ooh, that's beautiful. You're a little pricey. See, this one's cheaper. This is just a mech upgrade here, so that's 8K and one mech part, so that's going to be like 3 or 4K probably. Versus the other one which wanted multiple mech parts. So this is so much cheaper. Okay, here we go. And it's a... Oops. How about we buy some soapy water? So now, this is the first time I've done this mech on this playthrough, so I have no parts for this mech. So it's going to take a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Please be an easy part to get to. Lag. Okay, so hopefully this is an easy part. And it's not one of those buried pieces. Because it could just easily be a buried piece. I know the arms are miserable. Upgrade to version 3. And then go fix that one part. And we'll be good to go. So, yeah, like I said, I think next week we're going to look at truck mechanic. Since I have that one too. And we'll see what it's like to work on big trucks. Per what these guys think. We know what their take on mechs are, but we'll see what their take on trucks are. And that should be fun. To see what that looks like. And so I've worked on a fair number of different types of projects. Not necessarily working on engines per se. But I have worked on a fair number of tasks in these games. Where you're pulling things apart and putting things together. That it's not complicated. Nope, this one right here. Because trying to make that money. This one wants one part and a cleaning. And no matter how buried that part is, it's not going to cost me that much money to replace. It really isn't. Oh, and it's an easy part to get to. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Things. So excited. This part's so easy to get to. Actually, both parts. There's a few parts on this one. But I'm going to go ahead and actually do all three pieces. Oh, it's going to take me a minute to get this apart. So going to take a minute to get this apart. Because I have to take out the sprocket, to take out the lock ring, to take out the frame, just to take out the lower frame, see, the required component is easy to get to. I have to take apart the whole frickin' arm just to... See, time-wise, this is not worth it. Just so you can replace this one motor. Only reason I'm replacing it and going through all this effort is because I'm going to spend the money on it now so that I have the parts for later. So when I have to replace that part, I'll actually have a repaired part, or repairable part, depending on when it comes up, for. It's this one. That's right. This is the one they want the new one for. And we can take this off. Let's see now. In order to get to that part, I'm going to take this off. Might have to take off. Yep, I'm going to take off the whole hydraulic assembly. But that's okay. Now I can take this part off. Which doesn't make much sense why I had to take that rear plate off. Just to put this plate together. But I guess whatever the logic they're using makes sense to them. And that's all that matters, as long as their logic makes sense to them. Hopefully I didn't miss a piece. Nope, we're good. Now I just have to put the stupid thing back together. And goodbye. So it cost me a little more money, because I did replace 3 parts versus only replacing the one that was necessary. But it makes them happy. So this has got 2 parts in a repair and a clean. It's got 2 parts in a clean. So they're about the same. I'll take the soundtrack. For the most part, this one's a little easier to repair parts on than that combat mech. Now, granted, the combat mech is a good mech. To be fair. And it is fun to work on. But some of its parts, some of the common parts that break down are really hard to get to. Like this one here. This is a hubcap and a faceplate. Neither is complicated. So replacing these is going to be a cakewalk. Now there is a third part in there, but I'm not going to worry about that because we do actually have a timer on this one. So we're just going to replace that. And it's this one. Oh, I guess I could... No. I'm not tearing that apart. Considering how long this thing takes to put together. Which is not long. But if I have any issues, this thing can take up to a minute to put back together. And I definitely want that bonus. Now, see, I got 13,000 bonus, which actually paid for the parts. So this is a 36,000, one part, one clean mech. It's kind of weird because the contracts kind of bounce around from like really expensive jobs to really cheap jobs. Once you hit level 10, because before that they were all just kind of progressively worth more. And now that I've hit level 10, it's just a random, you can get literally any job from a 5k job, from, you know, the 10k jobs that you would have at the beginning of the game to the 50k jobs, you know, $200,000 contracts that you get towards the end. Okay, when you take that off, take that off, take that off. Okay, so I have to take the other side off for this one. Since I have to take this whole lock sprocket out of here. So I can take that frame off so I can replace this frame. Replace that part and that part. And then that part. And that takes care of that. Put the arm back on and we'll send it home. There. And that takes care of that. And believe it or not, that puts us halfway to being able to buy that new station. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go check, because this doesn't let me check my other things. Like, I wish they would let you put missions on there so you can monitor your missions. Not necessarily be able to accept and clear them, but be able to check status. That would be nice. I have no T3 stuff. I have no T3 jobs. So if I want to do a T3 mech, that's not going to be any good. And the only one I can do is a T2 for a discount. So this one's a T2. Combat model. This one's a T2 distress model. Which one do we have already? We already have a sentry. A Serenity. We don't want to buy another Serenity. So this one has a mining bonus. That's interesting. And those are tier 3s. So I can't buy those with illegal cards. Because I don't have any. But I actually could buy this one straight outright. See, he's $500,000. He's the top of the line combat model. Versus this one here is the midline combat model. Ooh, should I buy an Artemis? Not yet. Not yet. I will buy one. But I need more Artemis parts. Speaking of which, an Artemis. Hello, Artemis. Know exactly what we need. Because we can get enough Artemis parts through doing contracts for doing Artemises, then when I buy one, I may not have to worry about as many missing or broken parts. So I am going to do everything on this mech because it's all broken. And I want to buy an Artemis. So I might as well get all the parts. They want new pieces, that's fine. And there's a lot of them. So this is going to be expensive. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 new parts. 2, 3, 4. And each of them's in a different location. That's fine. Some of them, like this bad boy, are like really easy to get to. This one, not so much. I think I'm going to have to take off. Yeah, I'm going to have to take this off. That cover plate I don't think was necessary to take off. Take off the lower arm guard. Now I can take off the motor cover plate. Oh yeah, okay, so I did have to take off that back cover plate. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to take off the wiring harness. That's in the way. So now you can replace this motor. And then we're going to place the wiring harnesses. And replace all these parts. Okay. So that takes care of that. Now we just have to take 3 more pieces. Take off the leg. I'll take off the other leg. Same side of the mech, interesting. Now, what's broken? Really? Alright. This one happens to be inside. Thankfully, I only take the one part off in order to replace this wire. So that made that real easy. Now this one is just the external hubcap, which is an easy fix. Now we'll put that back. And then I'll put this back. And I'll pull that last leg off. So like I said, this one's going to be a little more expensive. It's not going to be as profitable because I've replaced 5 parts. And these parts are not cheap. Unfortunately, some of them were hubcaps, which really sucks because hubcaps are, they're not an expensive part, but they're not necessarily one that breaks regularly. So it's kind of interesting that this one has had 2 broken hubcaps, when typically they don't have many broken hubcaps. So it's one of those oddities. How's that wrath look? I like the look of that wrath. What's it look like? Now let's do this one. An extra $12K just to wash it. Not an expensive thing to do. I'll take the extra $12K to wash. It's because it needs a bath. Yeah, they don't charge. The way they price out activities in this game, it's by number of tasks. It's not by type of task. So like washing a mech shouldn't be worth as much as repairing a part. And replacing it with a new part should be more. if they want new parts, because they have to pay for the new part. But new parts are always optional, and the only thing you get for doing those is more reputation and less profit. Which one's the one I have to do? I'm not sure. So we're just replacing all of them. That was an optional part. That was one we had to replace. And can I take this out? Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's with the money. If that one was easy to get to, I would have considered it, but it's buried, and it's one of those I'm going to take off multiple faceplates just to get to. So, finish the job. Give me my money. And be done with it. Here we go. But see, this one's better because I get those. It's not worth as much. The other one's worth more. Though it also has a little higher cost. But this one, because it's the black market job, I get those black market tokens. I don't get enough of them to be able to buy the mech I want at a discount. I do want those discounts for the Wraith, because the Wraith is an outrageously expensive mech at $500,000. And if you can cut that in half by using the black market, this is a nuisance. No way! I have to take apart the whole arm. Oh. You know what? You are not worth it. You're optional. And I am not. Nope. I am not going through all that effort for an optional part that they want brand new. Not happening. Now, the last thing they want is level 0 software. And 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. I actually don't have any. So, I have to put that in. Goodbye. And I will take my black market points. Thank you. See, I got 2 tickets. So, hold on. I think my other mech should be back. Okay, good. So I think... Yep, it's him. We got another 66k and some more rep points. We have almost 100 rep points with that company. With one of the companies. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and inspect our mech. It's gone out twice. And it's now back. And I expect it to be broken or damaged or something. So let's go ahead and check our mech and see what it's going to, what it needs. It's not broken. Be still my heart. I expected it to be damaged. Put it back out. Maybe it's that auto repair function. Because it's the first time I've had auto repair on a mech. And it's possible that auto repair keeps it from taking damage. Anti-personal combat. Let's see. Random mech parts. Mech parts. Minerals. Black market. Now that requires blast shields. Anti-pressure. So I can do that one now. Anti-frost for some random mech parts. I don't know the random mech parts. But let's do this one because it can already do that. And we have 400k now. So I can buy this one and actually afford to deal with it. Because it's probably going to cost me 20 or 30k to rebuild it. At least that's my assumption. So before we do that, and we actually will look at it, let's go ahead and repair whatever parts we do have in hopes that we'll actually have parts that it needs. This way. So it won't take long. Now again, this is actually another construction mech. Construction salvage mech. So it's not a combat model. So stacking it out as a combat model may not be a good idea. I think I'll save that for the actual combat models when I buy one of those. But it's okay. Let's see now. That takes care of that one. That's that. I wish repairing stuff was this easy. Circuits are not that easy to repair. They really aren't. They're not complicated to repair. As long as it's not like repairing motherboards. Because I imagine that would probably get complicated real quick. I don't know how to do that before, but I imagine that might get complicated. But repairing like broken wires that you have to splice together, oh yeah, that's not hard. I've done that with small projects in real life, so it's not hard. But it's not necessarily easy either. Okay, so that's everything that I have in storage. Let's go through this real quick. Parts, if we have anything that's red, let's go ahead and sell anything that's not functional anymore. I don't know if I have any. It's fine if I don't. I actually prefer it that way. Cool. So, I'm assuming this is probably going to be quite bad. I may be lucky. It may not be too bad at all. I didn't buy it off the black market. So it may not have that much broken. Well, okay. Maybe I was a little optimistic there. Okay, so I was a little too optimistic, I think, in thinking that it may not be too bad. But yeah, it's all busted up. We'll see if this thing costs me less than Okay, so what's missing and where? Yep, no clue. It's got missing parts though. I wish it would mark what's missing. Okay, so there's one here. Nope, that's all there. And no, it's not in good shape, but so I don't see anything there. Wait. No, I don't see anything in there either. Okay. I don't know. Let me see if there's anything else missing out of that leg. Because there might not be. Nope. Okay. Let's not waste too much time on that then. We already have everything repaired. Okay. So. Alright. I have one of those. I actually have one of those. That might be it for that leg. Let's check this leg. So we can actually put this one back. Don't. Oh, look, another one of those. Lock bearings. Well, if that's all I'm missing is lock bearings on these joints, I'll take it. No, apparently that one's missing a little more. Probably missing a little more than just one piece. So let's go back and check again. Oh, there's a power cable in the back. Okay, so that takes care of that. There should be one missing part somewhere in this manipulator arm. There it is. Yep. This one was missing a lot of cheap parts. To be honest, it was missing a lot of cheap parts. I expected the repair bill to be much higher. When it came up with all of the missing parts, I expected it to be much more expensive. But I did have several of them in stock, which helped. And I happen to have a repaired patella. I repaired one of these faceplates. So, place the hubcap. Good to go. Not too shabby. That last part didn't cost me anything, because I already had it. Just had to put it on. It's a, looks like the camera's not centered. Okay, so this thing has mining missions. Mining missions are yellow. I have no yellow missions. I have a distress mission, and I have this orange mission, which is a scavenge. Anti-pressure. Well, the other one's got the anti-pressure module. So I'll give this one 3D maneuvering. Software, 3D maneuvering. That way they have different perks. Because you don't want all your mechs to have the same perks. Because then you can't do different missions. Well, you can have up to 10 different mechs. You still don't want them to have all the same thing. So you're my mech, so you're definitely getting an OS3. We'll take out that little low version you had. Upgrade your software. Thank you. Now, you can go ahead and go back to the garage. And we'll send you on the mission. And that is going to be it for tonight. I said next week we'll look at different game. Yeah, I'm still gonna play this one off and on, but we will definitely look at a different game next week with something new that we haven't played yet, and see what that's like. And thank you for visiting with me, pets, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we're going to be just continuing our SAO stream. So, have a good night, and keep going.